If you're scared of the market crashing in 2025 or worried you're going to lose everything when the next recession hits, I'm about to show you exactly how to prepare for it. Because here's the truth. The market will crash again. It always does. But the people who get rich aren't the ones trying to avoid the crash. They're the ones who survive it and keep investing through it. I'm Philip, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you some magic formula to avoid losses. Losses are part of the game, but what I will show you are the 3 best mutual funds that can help you survive the ups and downs and still come out on top in 2025 and beyond. Before we jump in, quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just sharing what I've learned and what's worked for me. The market is risky. You can lose money. Do your own research and only invest what you can afford to lose. All right, let's get into it. Let me be real with you for a second. A lot of people talk about investing like it's this smooth ride to riches. But the reality, the market crashes. It drops. It makes you question everything. In 2008, the S&P 500 dropped over 36%. In 2020, it crashed 34% in just a few weeks. And you know what happened after every single crash? It recovered. And it went higher than it was before. But here's where most people mess up. They panic. They sell at the bottom. They watch their portfolio drop 20, 30, 40% and they think, I need to get out before I lose everything. And that's exactly how you lose. Because by the time you sell, you've locked in your losses. And by the time you feel safe to get back in, the market's already recovered and you've missed the gains. So the question isn't how to avoid the crash. The question is, how do you survive it? How do you keep investing through it? And how do you come out richer on the other side? That's what these 3 funds are going to help you do. Fund 1, Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index. The first fund you need in 2025 is the Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index. Now, what makes this fund special? It's in the name. Zero, as in a zero expense ratio. You're not paying Fidelity a single penny to manage this fund. Most mutual funds charge you 0.5%, 1%, sometimes even 2% every single year, just for the privilege of holding your money. But Fidelity said, you know what? We're not going to charge you anything. And what does this fund invest in? The largest companies in America, the S&P 500 type companies, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, the companies that dominate the world economy. These are the companies that survived every market crash, every recession, and came back stronger. Now, when the market crashes, this fund is going to crash too. Let's not pretend it won't. But here's the thing. These large cap companies have the resources, the cash reserves, and the market power to weather any storm. They're the ones that survive. And when the market recovers, they lead the recovery. The zero expense ratio means more of your money stays invested and compounds over time. Over 20, 30 years, that can add up to tens of thousands of dollars extra in your pocket just because you weren't paying unnecessary fees. Fund 2, Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. The second fund you need is the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Philip, didn't you just talk about large cap companies? Isn't this the same thing? And yes, there's overlap. But here's why you want both. The Vanguard S&P 500 ETF tracks the 500 largest companies in America. It's the gold standard of index investing. Warren Buffett himself has said that for most people, a low-cost S&P 500 index fund is the best investment they can make. And Warren Buffett knows a thing or two about getting rich. This fund has been around for decades. It survived the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, the COVID crash, and every other market meltdown you can think of. And every single time, it recovered. Over the long term, the S&P 500 has averaged about 10% annual returns. That's enough to turn consistent monthly investments into life-changing wealth. Now, when I say survive the ups and downs, here's what I mean. In 2020, the market crashed in March. People were panicking. Jobs were being lost. The world felt like it was ending. But if you kept investing through that crash, if you didn't panic and sell, you would have seen your portfolio not only recover, but hit all-time highs by the end of the year. That's what this fund does. It forces you to stay invested in the market, even when it feels scary. And staying invested is how you win. Fund 3, SPDR Cent 500 ETF Trust. The third fund you need is the SPDR S&P 500 ETF Trust, also known as SPY. Now, you might be wondering, Philip, this is another S&P 500 fund. Why do I need 3 funds that basically do the same thing? And that's a fair question. Here's the strategy. By splitting your investments across these 3 funds, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, even though they're all tracking similar companies. Each of these funds is managed by a different company. Fidelity, Vanguard, and State Street. If, for some reason, one of these companies has issues, you're not completely exposed. But more importantly, SPY is the most liquid ETF in the world. That means it's easy to buy and sell if you ever need to. It's been around since 1993, making it one of the oldest ETFs out there. It has a proven track record of surviving and thriving through multiple market cycles. And just like the other 2 funds, SPY gives you exposure to the biggest, most stable companies in America, the companies that make money in good times and bad, the companies that adapt, innovate, and dominate. Now let's talk about preparing for loss, because this is where most people get it wrong. You need to accept that losses are coming. Your portfolio will be down 10%, 20%, maybe even 30% or more at some point. That's not a maybe. That's a guarantee. But here's what separates the winners from the losers. Winners don't panic. They don't check their portfolio every single day. They don't sell when things get scary. They keep investing. They dollar cost average. They buy more when prices are low. I've developed this habit of consistent investing. Some months the market is up, some months it's down. I don't care. I show up every month and invest. And you know what? I didn't wait until I had $1,000 or $5,000 to start. I started with whatever I could afford, $50 or $100, whatever, because it's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. The people who got rich from the 2008 crash weren't the ones who avoided it. They were the ones who kept buying while everyone else was selling. The people who got rich from the 2020 crash did the same thing. They bought when the market was red. Now, if you're watching from Nigeria, I know accessing these funds might seem complicated, but it's not. Check out the Bamboo app in the description below. Bamboo lets you invest in US stocks and ETFs directly from Nigeria. You can start with as little as $10. No excuses. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. You don't need to wait until you have thousands. Start now. Start small, stay consistent. That's the formula. So there you have it. The only 3 mutual funds you need, 2025. Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index for 0 fees and solid large cap exposure. Vanguard S&P 500 ETF for the gold standard of index investing. And SPDR S&P 500 ETF Trust for liquidity and proven longevity. Choose these funds for the best returns. Prepare for the market crash by accepting it's coming and staying invested anyway. Survive the ups and downs by being consistent and not panicking. That's how you win. If this video helped you, smash that like button, drop a comment, and let me know if you're ready to invest in 2025. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're building wealth together, one video at a time. And don't forget to check out the Bamboo app link below so you can get started today. I'm Philip, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's get rich.